Yeah, man. So how you been, man? I don't think I've seen you in a while, man. I don't even know if I've congratulated you on all you guys have accomplished, man. You're killing it.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. I think it's been since like that last time we played in New York that you came out at that weird venue, I guess. What was that place? Santa's Party House, I think it was?
Yeah. Doesn't Andrew WK like own that place or something?
Yeah, he owns that place. But dude, those people are dicks. Like when we played that show, they rushed us out of the venue and then made us lug all of our gear like down the street to the end of the street because they had like some other show going on. It was weird, but yeah, you think like a place that Andrew WK owned would be a little cooler, but definitely not. Definitely never playing there again.
A little more party oriented than that.
Yeah, I know. There wasn't any partying going on there, but yeah, man, I appreciate it though.
It was right in like midtown Manhattan, I think, like pretty swanky spot. So
yeah, that was our like first taste of that part of Manhattan too. We never really get to do much when we go to New York, but seeing that was like brutal. We had to park in Brooklyn, and it was brutal, man.
Wait, so you played in Manhattan, but you had to drive your van and park it in Brooklyn?
Yeah, dude. Dante had to drive the car and park it in Brooklyn, and then as soon as the show was over, had to bolt out the venue, get in a taxi, take the taxi to Brooklyn to go get the van, and then drive it back to us in Manhattan. It was tough.
Oh, wow. That sounds crazy. I mean, there's probably a parking garage or something y'all could have...
You would think, but it's tough to find a spot for a van and a trailer.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. That was always like the hairiest thing. We drove through Manhattan with that. Do you remember that 76 RV Mag Conductor was touring in for a minute?
Oh my God, yeah, I do.
And
dude, I bet it was impossible to find a spot for that.
Oh, it literally. Well, luckily we were playing in like a back neighborhood in Brooklyn, and we found a spot, but it blew up on the way home, like literally.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
I definitely know the feeling. We've been through 3 vans in the last 2.5 years.
Oh shit! Wow. Yeah, well, you guys just stay on the road.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were doing for, like, the first couple of years. Right now, we're taking, like, a little bit of a break. Like, I guess not really a break. We're just not touring quite as much because... Yeah, but I guess if you play like Chicago or New York 4 times in the same year, people start to lose interest. But
for sure,
so we're backing off a little bit.
But I'm looking at your schedule. You just got back from Canada, then you're going to Europe in the summer, then you're headlining the U.S. in October, then you're going back to Europe. That's not really like taking time off, man.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, this part of the year has been pretty easy. We've only done, like, I think one tour, like one long tour, like, since January, I guess. But I guess, well, because we got another release coming out later on in the year, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like we haven't announced it yet, but it's like a shorter release than normal, but whenever that comes out, we hit the road again pretty brutally, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool, though, man. I mean, and every time you get you get you get put on the road with like the best and the biggest band. So every time you must be like expanding your audience like exponentially.
Yeah, man, definitely. I mean, it's been seeming to work. We did that tour with No Effects. That shit was crazy. They got a lot of fans, and I mean, I guess a lot of them turned into our fans too, which is cool. But those people are kind of psychopass.
No Effects fans?
And they're crazy, dude.
Well, that's you.
I had no idea. But yeah, man, all those big tours are great. It's not like the coolest shit in the world, but getting to play in front of all those people that have never seen you before every night, it's a pretty great opportunity.
What do you mean it's not the coolest shit in the world?
I mean, it's like sometimes I'd rather play a basement show than like some grand ballroom or something, But I mean, really, you can't beat the amount of people that you're getting to play in front of every night,
Yeah, having somebody to sell merch to is nice when you're on the road.
Yeah, it sure is. Sure, it's the only way we can make any money.
What is is there some kind of disconnect you feel in a ballroom versus a
Oh,
basement?
definitely. Definitely. It's just a different vibe. Like, the people are so far away and you just can't see them, you know, so you can't really, like, connect like you could in, like, a basement or, like, a small club show, you know. But it's just, like, kind of a difference between, like, playing a festival and playing a regular show, you know. They're both cool for both their reasons, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And,
I think like
but,
maybe in the basement you got less people telling you like stay back here, go over here, do this, do that.
yeah.
But then
Yeah,
again,
like when we were on tour with No Effect, like people in the front row would just be screaming at us, "Fat Mike! Fat Mike!" We're just like, what the fuck do you want us to do? I
yeah.
don't know.
I toggle back and forth between like, oh, I want to play at real venues or I want to play in basements. It's like you play in a real venue and people kind of treat you like shit, talk down to you. Then you play at a basement and the sound guy's like passed out in the corner and there's no mic
Yeah,
stand.
dude,
You know what I mean? So it's like
definitely.
you got to find a happy balance between that. Like a professionally run basement could be ideal.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody's got to start that.
But when y'all play those ballrooms, I imagine Zach is just leaping over that barrier into the crowd anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah. He goes pretty nuts and stuff, and people are usually pretty like, whoa, this guy's crazy, you know. But and so it's good to be able to see us on that kind of stage because I don't know. A lot of the times when we're at the smaller places, people aren't really paying as much attention, you know.
Yeah.
They aren't as like shocked that like there's this crazy band going on. Because a lot of times there's like crazy bands there every night of the week, you know.
Right, yeah, or people in the crowd are like just as fucked up and wigging out on all kinds of shit anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, wait, which one is the singer? Everybody's rolling around on the floor twitching. Like,
Totally.
I wondered about Zach though, because that was kind of part of like when y'all were really starting to blow up. People would like, that's what they would say. They'd be like, their frontman is crazy. You know what I mean? And like when I went to see him, it's like, yeah, that's like 40 straight minutes of cardio or whatever however long your set is. But what is he into, like athletics or exercising or is like that?
Not at all. I mean, well, just since we started the band, he's like had to work out on our off time just to not like, because like if we go on like a month-long tour, we'll all come home and be in pretty good shape just from doing that shit, you know.
Yeah.
But then when we go back on the road like a few weeks later, if we didn't like keep it up somehow and like stay active, we'll just feel like the sluggiest pieces of shit in the world, and it hurts and like we get cramps and shit. But no, I mean, we don't really do sports or work out much. Besides, I guess Zach goes running now just to be healthy, you know.
Oh, cool.
But it's not like he's not like a nut about it by any means at all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would love to show him some acrobatics, like some kung fu.
Oh, dude, he would love that.
Some kung fu stuff or some flips. It's unfortunate there's no like in New Orleans, like gymnastics gym that has adult classes.
Man, I know.
Up here in my town, they actually have one, and it's like really cool. So mats you can practice doing. Like if he was doing flips off the stage and shit, man, that would take it to
like bad brains and shit.
The next level. Yeah. Yeah. I just heard that
Totally.
that dude, HR would do backflips, and you know who else does backflips is, I think the guy from the Aquabats still does them off the kick drum.
Really?
Yeah. I saw a video of
He's
it.
pretty old to be doing some backflips. He's going to break his neck.
Man. That's one thing that I hear so much in the gym. Like everybody's like coming in like, oh, I'm so old. I feel so old. I'm so old. It's like, dude, it's like, yeah, that's what happens when you don't die. But like, you got a choice. You can use it as an excuse to not do shit, or you can push past it. I mean, there's fucking 70-year-old Shaolin monks who can do a like 360 roundhouse kick and land in a full split. You know what I mean? So
damn.
it's like,
I didn't even realize.
You just got to keep up. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but you got to, if you, like, I look at my grandfather, man, like he worked right up until he got like so ill. It was just, the end, whatever. But he did manual labor up until he was like almost 80 years old. But I think it's because he never stopped. You know what I mean? I think if like at age 65, he would have stopped for like 3 months, would have been over. You just got to keep the machine oiled and going. But yeah, that's insane.
Definitely.
Like how much y'all are on the road. I mean, you must have like a pretty good system now. How do you eat? How do you stay snacking? How do you stay clean? How do you hygiene and all that. Like,
man, I mean, it's definitely tough to figure that shit. Like, I'd say that's probably about the hardest thing about being in like a touring band is figuring out how to like have some kind of normalcy, whether it's like through eating and like, staying clean and shit, which I just haven't figured out, like the showering thing. For me, it's tough because when we get to the show, I immediately start sweating because I have to load in. And then I sweat until we sound check. And then I have like an hour break until we have to play. You're a couple hours sometimes, and I'm already so sweaty, I don't want to change my clothes because I know I'm about to just go play a show and get sweaty again. And then we play the show, I get sweaty, and then we got to leave and pack up, and then I get sweaty again. It's like I don't have time to like take a shower in between that, I'm just going to like waste more clothes. And so, and I try to bring like as little clothes as possible, like 3 pairs of pants, like 5 shirts, and that's it. And try to wear like the same 2 or 3 things on stage every night, just because it's like the most sanitary thing I can think of, I guess. But I mean, the other dudes seem to have it better than I do for sure with that stuff. And then eating, I mean, really is just like about like making smart decisions. Like when you go to McDonald's, like don't get a Big Mac. Try to get like something either tiny that is shitty that you can like just hold you over till you get like a real meal or something, or get like a salad at a gas station instead of like some shitty chips or something,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's still a struggle for sure, especially in other countries where you don't know what the fuck you're supposed to eat at a gas station because their gas station food is like totally weird compared to U.S. gas station food.
Right.
And so like there's one thing in Europe, it's like a hot dog encased in a bun in a bag, so it's like never cold and you never heat it up. You just eat this like dehydrated hot dog. It's disgusting, dude. I don't understand.
Kind of like a Slim Jim or something.
Yeah, it's like a Slim Jim wrapped in like an old baguette or something. So gross. But I mean, that's what they eat. I don't know, but I'm still trying to figure out shit. I started taking vitamins. That seems to help at least a little bit. Definitely hard to not get sick on the road too. So I take a lot of vitamin C and shit, and that seems to help. But, yeah.
There's certainly parts of it that I don't miss, like looking at it. I mean, I'm getting a band together again now and thinking about like what a touring situation might be like. But it's like I've gotten very used to eating nice organic meals that my girlfriend cooks every night. I have my own gym where I'm teaching Kung Fu now and I'm exercising every night. And it's just like thinking about those nights on the road and you get to a bar basically at 6 p.m. to load in, and then you hang around a bar until, like you said, midnight when you play. And it's like, what can you do? You can shoot pool, you can drink, and I don't know, maybe play.
Yeah, the downtime's a killer, man. It can turn you into a slob.
Yeah. I've seen guys like go both ways with it, like some guys will bring books on the road and kind of try to stay productive, and other guys just fall into the drinking and just, I don't know. That's a weird balance. It's like when you break it down, what you're making in an hour, it's like,
oh man, I try to not think about it. I really try as hard as I can not to think about that specific idea. Like, what is my hourly wage today? Like $3 an hour? That's about right, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, not that it fucking matters. I mean, the adventure and the experience is priceless. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And you wouldn't trade any hourly wage for it. It's like,
yeah, of course not, or else I wouldn't be doing it.
It's just trying to
any job, pay more.
Find the way to stay sane. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Do you,
the best way I've found though is definitely smoking weed. I mean, I kind of like. I used to be in the drinking a shitload all the time, and it kind of made me like a douchebag, But if I just like on that off time and stuff, if I just pretty much smoke weed the whole time, I'm really not that much of a douchebag.
Yeah, that's
life
always.
It's way less calories too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Gear down on the liquor, ramp it up on the dope.
Yeah.
That's a Trailer Park Boys quote that I really like, but they call it dope in Canada.
Yeah, I love that show.
We definitely refer, like, dope is something else for us here in America, you know what I mean? But what have been some of your favorite experiences, man? Like, I mean, you did Canada recently with Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. You recently went out to Australia and New Zealand. Like, what have been some of your favorite spots and your favorite bands that you've played with? Coolest people.
Well, so I guess my favorite spot, my favorite tour we did so far was definitely Australia. That was like, when we started the band, that was like our number one goal. It was like, we're going to do all this shit. We're going to go all these crazy places. We're going to go to Australia.
Fuck yeah.
You know, we just said that, you know, more of it as a joke than anything. But then when we got to go there, we didn't realize that that is the coolest fucking place in the world. For sure. It's like the most laid back country I've ever been to, for sure. Everybody there is so nice. The food is sick. They got like the best food from like every region of the world. People who were sick of their country shit just moved to Australia and just make killer food there. And everyone appreciates it, and they appreciate the bands that come there. And like every show there was crazy. Like we didn't even think anybody would know who we were, just because we were there like opening for Strung Out or whatever. And but like every show there was always people that knew the words and stuff just from like them seeing us on a flyer and been like, all right, I guess I should listen to this band if I'm gonna go to this show, which people just don't seem to do anymore. You know, they used to back in the day, like anybody that was coming through, you check them out before you go see them. But
yeah,
if
only to look cool in the crowd. Like, yeah, I know this song.
Yeah, exactly. But not in Australia. In Australia, everything's like super legit. You know, everyone is like really actually into being there and seeing new music and shit. It's like a really nice change of pace. But that shit was awesome. Europe is cool every time we go there. Specifically, I like the UK the best myself, but all the places over there are so different, and there's so much to learn and so much different cultures and stuff, you know, that I never even thought about when I was a kid, you know.
Yeah.
And like the first time we went to Europe, we were there, and I was like, this is cool, but I'm not going to remember anybody's name or nothing because I'm probably never coming back here. But now that we've been back like 4 times already, like we have like good friends over there, like just as good of friends as we do in the States and stuff. It's awesome.
Word.
You know, it's like so everywhere we go, it's like a little home away from home at this point with people we like and awesome places and stuff. And then I guess the best bands we toured with, I mean, we went on a No Effects tour. That was pretty surreal. Because like everybody in the band got in love with No Effects since they were kids, you know. And getting to play with them and hang out with them and shit every day was, I mean, awesome. Those dudes are the coolest. Who else? I mean, we get to run into the Descendants all the time, and we haven't really played with them, but they're like fans of our band, which is cool. So like when we were in like Europe for Rebellion Fest, they were like all on the side of the stage watching us. They were like, that is fucking nuts. I cannot believe that. But yeah, I mean, just getting to meet people like that and shit has been probably the coolest experiences, you know, getting to like learn all kind of lessons from people like that and stuff. They've been doing it for like decades and stuff. I mean, they definitely don't teach you that kind of shit in school, you know.
No doubt, man. That's awesome. And No Effects was like you and Zach have been buddies forever and playing music, and No Effects was like your favorite band, right? Yeah,
most definitely. When we were like back in the days when we were doing that band, the Lollies, like we were like obsessed with No Effects. It was like not healthy, you know.
Yeah, you could hear the influence, especially in the Lollies stuff. A lot of like the vocal harmonies, which you and Zach are great at, by the way, man.
Thank you.
But then once PEARS came out, you had definitely honed your own sound more so. Like it was more raw, it was angrier, it was more aggressive, and yeah, man. I remember when y'all like first started playing as PEARS, like. That year, you just were on the road the entire time. And that's what I tell everybody, like, when PEARS comes up in conversation on the podcast or whatever. I'm like, those dudes just lived on the road, like, until they were noticed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the trick nowadays. Like, when we started the band, the idea was to just, like, get a sick batch of songs and just hit the road for as long as we can stand it, you know. And if we just keep popping up in people's towns over and over, eventually they're going to have to come see us. And as long as we don't suck, you know, that's a pretty good way to go about being in a band in 2017, you know, when it's like impossible to get people to see your shit on the internet. You know, you gotta shove it down their throats and make them see you in person, you know. But it seems to have worked. You know?
You seem to get pretty good responses to your posts online. Like I'm cruising through your page today, and I mean, I guess they both kind of go hand in hand though. The more you're out on the road, the more people are going to be like talking about you. The buzz will be there and it'll just kind of boil together.
Definitely. It's like, as long as you just, like, if you're not on the road, as long as you just keep up with it, like working as hard for it every day as if you were on the road, you know, I feel like that's a pretty good way to go about it. And just like being consistent, like trying to post something every day and then like responding to people that comment and shit, it always makes way more people see it, you know. I'm not like a social media guru by any means, but yeah, but I do all that stuff except for the Twitter. Our drummer Jarrett does the Twitter because I don't like it.
Yeah, delegate
I just
the
don't get it. We
responsibilities.
can't seem to get any followers on there. I don't know what the deal is.
You got to get wrapped up in some controversy. You got to like have beef with somebody, getting like a Twitter war.
Beef going.
We could fabricate some beef for you. Find somebody to
dude.
Just build off of each other.
I used to make up like fake rumors when I was younger, just like for jokes. And I would go up to people and be like, "Hey man, did you hear like Peyton Manning punched a little girl in the face at the mall?" And people would be like, "No, I didn't hear about that." I'd be like, "Oh, that's funny because I made it up." I think I should just do that, but just tag those people on Twitter. Maybe we get like Peyton Manning following us. Yeah, I'm gonna make some fake news articles.
Yeah, you got to tweet at them. So when you started right before PEARS, you were playing in another band. Was that with your brother?
Yeah, that was my brother's like rock band. They're cool. They're like they're called the Breton Town, but I was mostly just doing that to tide myself over till I could figure out, you know, what the next move was for me in the punk rock realm, I guess. But playing in this band, he used to be in this band called Cowboy Mouth, basically, and they were like a bigger radio rock band in the 90s. But he joined the band in like the 2000s. So like when I was a senior in high school, like for my senior internship, he like took me on the road with them and stuff for a couple of weeks.
Oh, cool!
Which is like definitely the coolest senior internship anyone got to do. But like I got to learn all kind of stuff that like you wouldn't learn about touring unless you were like on a big tour, you know. So just learning all that shit and then going into like stuff like the No Effects tour, I was like, it's just like high school again, you know.
What kind of stuff?
So just like what it is to like be a band and load in and stuff and do sound checks and learn all the terminologies for everything and how to set everything up, like not just your own instrument, and how to work like with other people as a team, you know, in a band is definitely something you got to learn if you're going to tour and stuff, you know, like how to make everything run smooth and just if something needs to get done, just do it instead of asking what to do, like whose job it is and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
I guess more like teamwork exercises, I guess. But like in the professional atmosphere that I was looking to be in eventually, you know. But after that and stuff, he quit that band because they weren't paying him right, and started this other band, the Breton Town, with his buddy from high school. And actually, the original drummer from PEARS is still in that band, John Bourgeois.
Oh, okay.
And his twin brother took my place playing bass when I quit to do the PEARS thing. But I did all kind of cool stuff with that band. I mean, they were a fun bunch of dudes to hang out with. We got to like play casinos and stuff sometimes, and like we made a ton of money doing that shit. Like
cool.
We did this thing like at this one casino where we would play there Friday and Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We would do like these cover sets, and they would pay us all like $1,000 each. It was awesome.
Damn.
It was like yeah, it was super cool, and we get to drink whenever we want. It was super tight. But yeah, they're a good band. They're still kicking, still doing stuff, but I just quit that when PEARS became a thing because I was like, I was playing bass in that band too, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna go do this thing that I'm naturally much better at, and wish you guys the best of luck.
What kind of covers were you playing at those casinos?
Just like 90s alt rock covers and stuff. Like, it's not what they wanted us to do, but they were kind of stuck because we were the only band that would agree to do it, you know. So we just kind of got to play whatever we wanted, like a bunch of Weezer and like Foo Fighters and stuff, and you know. But then random like things that people sitting there playing that Slash would want to hear and shit. Yeah.
So did you make a lot of contacts in that experience to help you set up PEARS?
Not so much. It's like it was definitely a different realm. It was more of like a professional rock and roll music realm, I guess, where with like they would meet like radio people and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, that's cool to meet a radio guy. I mean, it's never gonna help my punk band or nothing, but you know, because we're never gonna be on the radio. But I mean, definitely met like a bunch of cool people, you know, along the way that I'm still friends with and stuff.
Yeah.
But not many like contacts that I still use today or nothing.
So when you started playing with PEARS, were you doing all that booking, or did you have a booking agent at that point?
Well, when we started the band, I was doing all the booking. I did the booking for like, I guess the first like year-ish.
Wow.
Until like we played like our CD release show for our first record in New Orleans with a Wilhelm Scream and this other band, Red City Radio. And the bass player, JoJo from Red City Radio, was like, I'm going to start being a booking agent, and I think I want to book you guys first. And we were like, okay, please, God, I don't want to do this anymore. So
hell yeah. Then
he took over from there, and he's still our agent now. But it did take a while to actually get him integrated and stuff because I was booking everything for a good minute. And all the contacts was just like friends of friends, really, at that point. You know, just like booking us wherever they could. You know, but...
So, you know, you're on Fat Records, but you still have the same booking agent that you worked with before you signed?
Yeah. It's crazy how things work out like that. Like we initially thought like when we would sign a Fat, like they would take care of like all that stuff for us, but they don't have like an in-house booking guy or nothing.
Really?
It's just like we ended up like playing with all the Fat bands because we would just meet them on the road because either we would go see them and be like, hey, we're a new Fat band, and we'd hang out, or like they would come see us just to be like, oh, there's this new Fat band, let's go check them out. And then we'd meet and hang out and decide that we were friends enough to go on tour and stuff, really. I guess it's really how all like the support tours and stuff have ended up falling in our laps just from like becoming friends with the guys.
Damn.
But,
so that guy must have really known what he was doing. Like, how did he go from saying, I want to start a booking agency, to being able to book you on like Riot Fest and Rebellion and all these huge festivals?
I mean, I think a lot of it had to do with just like people would hit him up, be like, I've been hearing about this band, and you're their booking agent. Like, we want to get them on this Riot Fest thing. That, and like, also his band is like a couple years older than us, and like, you know, I guess around the same size. So he already knew a lot of those people too, just from his band having been touring for a few years at that point. And but they're great though. His band, Red City Radio, they took us on our first European tour and stuff, and it was awesome. Like half the shows were sold out. We're like, we didn't even realize you guys were like big at all. But like in Europe, you sell out all these shows and shit. But yeah, they're great. They're like our big brothers or something.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sure. Yeah, but yeah, I guess he ended up like learning a lot and getting a lot of contacts through just trial and error shit with us too, you know. And now he works at this company AMG Atomic Music Group, I guess. So he's like a part of like a full agency now, but he used to just do everything by himself. But I guess now he's got like access to a bigger pool of contacts and stuff through that.
The door's been open. That's huge, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. But
even
everything in that realm is easy as fuck these days.
In that first year, you must have booked like over 100 shows yourself then.
Yeah, definitely.
And how did you start to build those contacts
and everything?
Oh,
wait, I'm sorry, what?
So you built a database just from like talking to friends and all that? Yeah,
pretty much. Like I just had like a handful of friends that have been doing it for a long time that shot us a bunch of contacts. Like Steve Chilla that books a lot of bands. Ryan Young from Up With Their Head, who originally put out our first album through his like podcast label, Anxious and Angry. He helped me a bunch, like getting contacts and stuff for like all kind of Midwest places I would never know who to talk to and stuff. And just I mean, like I would find a city where I was stuck in, and then just like put out like a Facebook post, and people would, from all over the place, would shoot us different contacts. And most of the time, the same guy over and over, or same girl over and over, and it would just end up working out. And we're still friends with like all those promoters. I feel like when a promoter books you as like a small band, it's like probably good to like stay in touch with them and become like actual friends, because you're going to be working in the same community of like a few hundred people scattered around the country for like the next few years, so a lot of those people we stay in touch with and still book shows with these days,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And other than your time in the Brenton Sound, how much traveling had you done before you started really hitting the road with Pairs?
Basically zero. I mean, we like the Lollies had done like a few tours, but the only real tour I ever went on with them was like we did like a Florida tour and then like a 6-day tour with that band Joystick.
Yeah.
But other than that, like we had never toured at all, really. I mean, none of us extensively at all up till that point. Then we just kind of hit the road. And we're just like, holy fuck, this is really tough.
Wow.
You know, I mean, you've done it a bunch of times.
Yeah, I kind of like eased into it. Like I started young and we did, well, I guess our first run was in East Coast when I was like 16 with No Cash. And then,
y'all toured a lot though, huh?
Yeah. Like then the next summer we went to Texas, and then the summer after that we went to California. So we kept like stretching it a little further, you know?
Yeah.
But I would find like with both bands, with No Cash and Mad Conductor, it was like the longer we stayed on the road didn't necessarily make the tour better. You know, it was like if we set out to do a 6-week tour, it's almost like in retrospect, you'd be like, man, we could have snipped a little bit of fat off of that thing and probably,
definitely,
done a 4-week and more bang for our buck and everything. But
definitely.
So,
we definitely learned like if you're gonna do a tour, it's best to like just play the good spots and not do all like the really small towns and stuff, like just because it's better for morale if the shows are like just good stuff,
Oh,
or
no
like
doubt.
if you try to make it, just good stuff. It's a bummer to like roll into like some weird town on a Monday and like nobody comes out, it just sucks.
And some people just can't handle it either way, though. Like after some of my most fruitful tours, I've had members drop off, just be like, I can't do this. And it's like, what? Like we're living the dream, man, but I know that y'all have had some experiences like that too, where like right in the peak, you had a member change. Didn't you have a different bass player go out to Australia with you?
So here's our timeline. So we started the band and it was me and Zach and Alex, the bass player from the Lollies, and John Bourgeois, the drummer from that band, Fatter Than Albert and stuff.
Yeah.
And we already knew when we started that John didn't want to tour because he had like a really good job and he just wasn't going to do it. And so we're like, all right. So when we start touring, we got to find a new drummer. So then we got Tim Harmon from that band Informant from Denton, Texas. So he played drums for us for like the first 8 months of touring or so. And then we over that 8 months, we just learned that we didn't work very well together on the road, with him. And so we got rid of him and got our still drummer Jarrett he's from Philly. When we decided we needed a new drummer, we were just like, so who's good? And we were like, I don't really know. I guess that Jarrett guy was pretty good. Maybe we should just ask him. And so we asked him, and he was like, oh, fuck yeah, dude, totally.
So what, did he move to New Orleans to play with y'all?
Yeah, we basically had him send us some videos from Philly of him playing the songs, and they were tight as fuck, and we're like, well, okay, so do you want to move to New Orleans for a few years and play with us? And he's like, absolutely.
Wow.
And he was there like as soon as we told him to be. And
so did you put him up or what? Like, how did that?
Yeah, he stayed at Zach was at his grandma's Mima's house in like the 8th ward, and they have like a pretty bigger house. I guess it's like a 2-story house, but the downstairs got flooded in the storm. But there's like a back room in the upstairs of this house that Jared just stayed in for a while. But we really weren't there that much. We were on the road more than we were actually home. So It was basically just him being there so he didn't have to like fly him back and forth from Philly when we had to go on a tour. But it was also good when he was there because he was there for like writing sessions and recording stuff for our second record. So that was nice. But yeah, so we got Jared on drums now, and then so bass players, we had Alex playing, and he just decided touring wasn't for him, but he put in like a good year and a half, of like solid touring, but it just like he just hated it, and we could tell. And so, but he finished out everything he said he would do, and it was totally cool. It gave us enough time to find a new guy, and we found this guy John Comar from Atlanta, and he came and did one U.S. tour with us. And then after that tour, we had like 2 weeks off, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go back to Atlanta for a minute, and I'll meet you guys in L.A. to fly out for the Australian tour. And we're like, all right, sick. And so we we were all supposed to be in LA like 2 days before we flew out just to make sure we were all there. And when we got to LA, we got a call from John like, hey man, my flight got fucked up.
Oh, no.
Not gonna make it in time, I don't think. And we're like, what in the fuck, dude? You can't just not make it. He's like, your dad works for the airline. Figure this shit out, please, guys.
Oh, what?
And so he did it for a whole day. He just lied to us, telling us that he got a flight from Atlanta to Phoenix, and that he was in Phoenix waiting to fly to LA. So we were like, all right, whatever, man. We'll buy you this fucking plane ticket from Phoenix to LA in like an hour from now, since you're already at the airport, to get on that flight, meet us in LA. And then he just didn't answer his phone for like the next 8 hours. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? Is he on the plane or not? And so then, like, I guess like a few hours before we're about to go to the airport to get on the flight, we get a call from his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend. And she's like, John's like freaking out, and he's definitely not in Phoenix or LA. He's still in Atlanta, and he's definitely not coming with you guys.
Whoa.
And we were like, holy fuck, what do we do? So then we just got in the airport, and we're like, I guess we'll just figure this out when we get there. So we get to Australia, and the sound guy for Strung Out, this is David. We tried to teach him all of our songs in a night. And so the plan was for Zach to play 3 songs on bass, and then David would play the rest of the set on bass. And then as soon as we started the first show, we're like, that was obviously too much to teach this guy all at once, because he didn't know a fucking note of the whole set. So after the first song, we're like, David, get the fuck out of here. And Zach just played the bass for a couple of weeks. And then eventually we got like Chris from Strung Out was playing a few songs with us every day. And David was playing a few songs with us every day. And Zach was playing a few songs every day, all on the bass. So we had to switch bass players 3 times during the set. And then, but eventually halfway through the tour, we got this dude, Pat, from this band The Decline from Perth in Australia. And he showed up. We had asked him to do the tour. Or first we asked the guitar player from Friends Around to do it. And he was like, fuck yeah, man, I'll do it. And he tabbed out all of our songs in a day. Damn. And then the next day was like, by the way, how much am I going to get paid? And we're like, dude, we don't have any money. Like, we were hoping you would do it for free. And he's like, I can't, but I'll give all these tabs to my friend Pat, and he could do it. And so Pat did the whole tour, and all we did was just give him a free bass.
You gave him you said you gave him a bass?
Yeah, we had like somehow talked Fender into giving John, the other bass player, a free bass. And so we brought that bass with us to Australia, and then we just gave it to Pat for payment for him playing all the shows and doing a great job. He was awesome.
Dope, man.
But so yeah, we just gave him the bass and went on home, and now whenever we see him, we let him come play with us and shit, and it's cool. He's like an unofficial member of the band still.
That's awesome, like your Capadonna if you're a Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, I just can't imagine like what would go through somebody's mind. Like, you're about to go to Australia to tour with a rock band. Like do you get cold feet about the flight or about being so far away from home? Like what is it that would make somebody pull out of that?
Know. I guess. Well, he was like a real anxious guy, and like all of us are pretty anxious people, but he especially was like super nervous about everything all day, all the time. We don't know. I don't know why, but you know, I guess he just like got back to Atlanta during that little break and was just like, I just can't fucking handle it anymore. But I don't know. If I was him, I would have not blown it like that.
It's kind of weird.
You know?
I mean, for one, just to go against your word, if you like let somebody know you're going to do something and then you back out of it, is just like, I don't know.
Like it would have been more helpful if he just told us in the first place he didn't want to do it. Because then we would have been able to figure out another option, you know?
Well, shit, man. I mean, I've been through that before, you know, but it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Are you afraid? Was he afraid of like dying in a plane crash? Because if you ask me, so. Like, you could.
That's what I think it really was. He was always like nervous he was going to have a heart attack, you know, which I guess is definitely a panic attack.
That's going to give you a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly, you know. Fuck. But I think that might have been it, that he was just so worried about dying on the plane or something, or just being in Australia. But I mean, I don't know, everything was fine. You know, he didn't have anything to worry about. Zach broke his hand like halfway through that tour, and he was still fine. You know,
how did he break his hand?
It was so dumb. We were playing it was like the second to last show before we were going to pick up Pat to play bass. And so Zach was playing bass for half the set, and then passed the bass on to somebody else and was doing his normal frontman thing. and he jumped up in the air and came down and punched the stage like he was like the Hulk or something, which he used to do all the time, but this time he was just in a bad mood and actually punched like he was going to punch through the stage and just crushed his hand. It was gnarly, dude. And it was like the middle of the set, and we had to finish, you know, but like after the song, he was like, look at my head, oh my God. And it was just like, holy fuck, he just like mangled.
So he had to go to the hospispital in Australia and get it casted up.
Yeah, dude, it was such a pain. Like we missed one show because of it, because we had to like we were like on the other side of the country basically, and he had to take a plane to the other side of the country, get the surgery, then fly back.
Holy
so he did it all in like
shit.
a day, and we picked back up on the next show.
Wow.
But,
damn.
Yeah, it was definitely the most brutal tour we've ever done, but definitely the most fun.
Fuck yeah, man. I mean, like, probably looking back, you wouldn't change a thing about it.
Dude, totally. It was awesome. I mean, and plus it was like just the members there that we were all sure about, you know, like we didn't have like a bass player that we weren't crazy about, you know, but, and then having Pat or whatever from the Decline was like that dude just like joined the band like had been there the whole time. It was awesome. Got along super well.
Becomes your
he was
brother.
A killer bass player, you know.
For the future, Zach's got to use a palm strike. That's what I always tell people when they're first learning self-defense, because when you hit with the fist, you have the risk of rolling your wrist or just damaging your knuckles. You know what I mean? But if you hit with like the butt of the hand, like the palm, that takes that joint out of the equation, and you have like a little bit of padding, but you can still come with some serious power.
Yeah, that's a good. I'll tell him that. That's good. That's a good tip.
As far as like any worry of dying in a plane crash or something like that, man, for rock and roll, I don't give a fuck if I live or die, man. If somebody's like, yo, we're booking a show wherever, like I'm going, man. You know, like
yeah, dude.
I just can't imagine, but I guess people are wired differently. The thing is, you probably have more of a chance dying driving to some shitty job on the highway than you would in a plane crash. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, the odds are just not good to die in a plane crash. You know, barely ever happens.
Dude, I randomly got that song by John Denver in my head this week. Leaving on a jet plane. And I didn't know it was John Denver, and I had the lyrics in my head. I'm like, how the fuck did this get in my head? And I was like, who is that anyway? And I looked it up, and it was John Denver. And he says in the song, he's like, don't know if I'll be back again. Or he says something like, I could die or whatever. But I guess then somebody told me after that he had a girlfriend who died in a plane crash. So that's why he wrote the song. Man. But then he died in a plane crash too.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a premonition, but he was flying the plane. He was, I guess, a pilot on the side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he fucked up and crashed into a cliff or some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been plenty of rockers who have gone out that way, you know, but I feel like that was kind of before. It's different, like. What, you got Leonard Skinner, the Big Bopper.
That's true. Did Travis Barker survive that plane crash?
Oh,
that's pretty
shit.
impressive.
Yeah, that's right. He was the only guy, too, right, on the plane?
Yeah, apparently. Now, I heard through somebody that knows somebody that works for them that he doesn't ever fly anymore. Like, they'll do shows wherever, but he will only go on a boat.
That's cool too, man. I joked about that with the Stupid Henchmen because somebody in their band had said they had reservations about flying, but I was like, man, fuck it. We'll do it old school style. We'll sail around the world. Totally. Dude, somebody was talking to me about that. They're like, think about the first guy who just like got on some kind of vessel and sailed toward the horizon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's a scary thing that I don't think I would do. Like just like sail into uncharted territory. No thanks.
I wonder though.
If it had like a destination.
I just wonder if anybody like did that and made it to different parts of the world before like the famous explorers got the credit for it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sure, man. They had to have.
Definitely, right? Like
I mean, definitely. There was definitely somebody that did that before Christopher Columbus.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, they had to have.
Yeah, and it probably like smaller distances and shit. I would imagine from like Russia to Alaska. Like, it isn't really that far. You know, I think that I was reading somewhere where they were talking about making like a bridge from like wherever the end point of Alaska is to wherever the beginning point of the other continent is. And I mean, you can just drive that shit now. You know,
weren't they talking about
a boat or a plane?
I remember hearing something similar where they were going to do a bridge that went like all the way to China or Tokyo or somewhere.
Maybe it's China.
Somewhere
in
Asia, and it was going to pass through like a global bridge.
Yeah. That's the one I'm talking about. And then it would also stretch to like London and shit too, which is pretty nuts.
That would be dope, man. Yeah, because London is, I don't know, this might not be a fact, but I feel like it's not much further than Los Angeles from me, like on the East Coast.
Oh, definitely not. It's got to be about the same distance.
Yeah, it's like 3,000 miles from New York to LA.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I guess it's about like if you think about it like in a flight, well, I don't know. I've never flown to London before. But apparently they just started $100 one-way tickets from New Orleans to London.
Come on.
Which I'm pretty stoked about.
Dude, that's sick. You could just pop in for the fucking weekend.
I know, right? It's a game changer, dude.
Man.
But it sucks because we never start tours there. We always have to start tours in like somewhere in the middle of Germany. So I have to fly to like Frankfurt or whatever, and it's like always almost $1,000.
Really? Even when I flew into Germany to tour with No Cash, we flew through Heathrow in London.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought that was kind of like a hub, kind of like how here, like Chicago or Atlanta, you know, you got these hub cities that you like fly into and then fan out.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. I just know that every time that we've done it, when we've looked at the flights, it's always been like somehow the cheapest to just fly straight to Frankfurt, because from Frankfurt we can also pick up our van and gear and stuff, because there's like a rental company out there. And I don't know, everybody else we've asked too, we're like, you guys been flying to like the UK or some shit? And they're like, nah, just straight to Frankfurt.
Straight to Frankfurt. Man, I really love the UK too. You said that was one of your favorite spots, man. I had a great time touring there with Mad Conductor and made some great friends too. And I'm sad that I haven't been back. But you know, I'll get there again. Talking with like Ara from the Slackers and Vic Ruggiero, like I was like, dude, going to England for you must just be like going to Jersey or going to Florida or whatever. And it's like, yeah, he says he's been there like 50 times. So I think,
yeah, man. Those people are like in love with the Slackers and shit over there.
And when you're in the tour circuit like you are, man, like it's just, you know, you get over there and you go back and like you said, making good friends. It's a really cool thing, man.
Yeah, man. It's kind of it's like just a little extension of your community in the States, you know?
No doubt.
It's just like more of the same kind of people over there, you know, just that all do the same shit and all know the same bands and the same people, really, if you're in like the touring circuit, you know. It's really like, it's a pretty like big community of people like in the touring world, I guess, but they're scattered all over the world, you know. We met like this one dude in Slovenia, which I didn't even know what Slovenia was until we were there to play a show. And there was this guy, the sound guy at the show, was playing all these like old community records bands before the show, like over the PA. He's playing like old Flamin' Tsunami stuff, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, how do you know all these bands that we've known since we were little kids? And he's like, I don't know, I just know all the Comrade guys, and I have the Lounge album and stuff. I'm like, what? That's insane.
That's awesome, man.
But,
I was gonna ask if you'd done some touring in like Eastern Europe, like weird Europe.
Not yet. I wish. We met a dude that books a bunch of shows there when we were on the Australian tour. Like this guy that books in like Seoul and South Korea and stuff, and all kind of places over there. But we haven't been able to do it yet because I think we're gonna try and wait until we go to like Japan and stuff first and do all that shit at the same time. But I really want to. It's definitely one of the goals. We got like an offer to play in Jerusalem for the next tour, but we couldn't fit it in as a schedule, unfortunately.
I was actually going to ask you that because I know that in like top 40 music, like there's some weird like thing like artists won't perform in Israel, or like some will, others won't. But I don't know if it has to do with like standing with Palestine, you know, and not playing in Israel.
I would imagine it's definitely scary.
Yeah.
Because we when we did that No Effects tour, the other band that was on the tour, that band Useless ID, they're from Israel. And they always talk like all the time in their songs about like they wake up to bombs all the time and stuff, and they've been like basically like watching a war like their entire lives, you know.
Fuck, man, I would do it.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're the ones that asked us to come do the show, so we would definitely go over there and play. I'm not scared or nothing like that.
Fuck yeah, go everywhere.
It's not like we're going over there to like feud with people that are angry or nothing. We're just going there to hang out with the punk kids, you know.
That's what I'm saying. So like, there could be some. There's got to be people in Israel who aren't cool with the occupation and the persecution of the Palestinians. Just like in America, there's people who aren't cool with the war in the Middle East. Like,
oh, of course.
And those are the people that you're going to connect with, not the fucking government and like corrupt officials and shit.
Yeah, I think that's why we're not that worried about going places like that, you know?
Yeah.
Because we'll show up there and just immediately be around people that are like-minded and stuff, and, you know, not into blowing each other up and stuff.
Would you do like a USO type thing in the Middle East? Like, would you go to play in Afghanistan?
Yeah, man, I think so. I know everyone got mad at the Vandals when they did it, but I mean, those people are just people, you know. It's not like they're there like supporting a war necessarily. They're there doing a job, you know. They didn't choose to be there a lot of the time too. Like most people that are in like the army and shit, I feel like are there for like the college money and stuff, and just trying to get along, you know, and those people need some kind of entertainment. So yeah, I guess my personal opinion at this point would be like, yeah, I would go do that. I know my brother did it too, and he was in that band Cowboy Mouth, and he said it was awesome. But like he said, a couple times they had to like go in underground bunkers and shit because they would just like fights would just break out between them and like the Iraqis and stuff when they were there doing it, and they would have to just like stop playing and start running and shit. And that was pretty scary, but you know, I guess under the right circumstances I'd be down. But I don't doubt they'll ever ask us to do something like that.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe you'll do it with leftover crack.
Maybe so.
I wonder how long it would take before bullets started flying at the stage.
It would probably be U.S. bullets flying at them.
Yo, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could play Suicide that night, and it'd be for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a touchy issue for sure. Like saying. But same thing, there's got to be people who joined the military and then got over there and been like, I fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Regretting the decision.
I'm sure like at least over 50% of the people aren't stoked to be there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We don't have to turn this into like a war talk political podcast, but I think if anything, I would do it just to like, I don't know, see that part of the world. It's a fucking
definitely,
you know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, that's what I'm in this band for most. Like, that's what the biggest reason I'm doing this is for, anyways, is to see the world for free.
Yeah.
You know.
Although, as soon as those words left my mouth, a thought came into my head was like, if you do those shows, are you then part of the war effort in some kind of way?
I don't know. I mean, that's definitely something to think about. You know, I haven't really thought like too much about the subject, so like, you know, take my answer with a grain of salt for the previous question. You know, but I don't really know. What do you think?
Well, if you think about it, bro, if you really break it down, everybody in this country is part of the war effort. Like, everything you buy is taxed, and some of that money ends up into the military funding. Even if you're trying to be like live off the grid and I'm not going to buy anything and I'm going to live in a squat house, eventually you'll get arrested. Eventually you'll have to pay some fine or serve some time, where some money is getting circulated in the system that will end up back into the hands of the military. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I've been fucking tripping on this deep shit lately, man. Like, succeeding in life, like what you call succeeding or what is known as success in our world, it's like more or less just success in a system that's been laid out. So like, if you make a lot of money, you haven't necessarily succeeded in life. You've succeeded in the game of the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm just trying to think, is it really possible to live outside of that system? Like maybe to an extent. Playing in a band is definitely like part of it, but then there's capitalism that goes along with that
you still got to
too.
pay rent, you know?
Yeah, it's fucked.
You still got to pay rent, you still got to pay bills, you know, or you still got to pay for gas every single day.
Oh, you're buying a
it,
shit ton of gas, yeah.
Yeah, most of the money we make goes to the gas, you know?
Most of the bands...
So it's tough. I mean, unless you want to figure out how to make like an electric car, you know?
Well, I was going to say, most of the bands who I know who have tried to do the veggie oil thing have had problems with those vehicles.
Oh, yeah, dude, that shit never works.
Yeah.
The Community Records dudes did that, and they're just like, that van basically just sits in Greg's driveway now.
Ah, what a bummer.
He was telling me it's just like so much trouble that it's not really worth it.
I'm hoping that, all right, like my van, I just replaced the transmission on it, dude. It cost $1,600.
Oh, man. It sucks.
Yeah, and it's only got 150,000 miles on it, so I'm hoping that it will last me until like electric and solar vehicles or whatever are more readily available. Maybe like
man, they're
10 years
from
from
figuring
now.
that shit out.
Yeah, for sure. I think people are holding them back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, the government's got a lot of money invested in natural gases and oil and stuff. You know, so it's definitely there. Like the government and every big business in the world is not excited about that option. You know, the option of the electric cars and stuff and alternative fuel sources and stuff.
yeah.
They're not stoked about that. I mean, they've like Nikola Tesla figured out free energy like almost a whole like 100 years ago, and that's just like electricity that pulls off of molecules around it in the air. Said that, but the government bought his patent when he died, or like stole his patent when he died. So, and they've been like keeping it hidden for like a super long time from like the general public that that's even an option, you know. But there's definitely alternative sources of energy that we could be using that just don't get used because the government's too involved in gas and, you know, the whole world really is at this point. You know, nobody has the time to like switch over main power sources for like the whole world. I mean, that would flip everything upside down. The wars would end. You know, people would lose like half the jobs in the world. You know, I think
sounds awesome.
But, I don't know. yeah, it sounds pretty sick to me. Starting over like a fresh slate. But you know, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Maybe like small things like solar powered cars though might come first though. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, and once that happens, it's like once transportation, then infrastructure, and then I don't know. I think we just need some of these like dinosaurs to kind of die off and let us progress.
Yeah, dude, I feel the same way. People that are just like either like stuck thinking one way because they like are a certain side of like the government, like the political spectrum, you know, or like they're just like, you know, stuck in like old business relationships that like if they tried to get out of, they would like probably die before anything good came of it, you know?
And a big part of it too is just denial. Like, so you'll find a lot of climate change deniers are coincidentally also invested in oil. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course.
So it's kind of like just justifying things in your own mind. Like I was all proud of myself because I got a new run of t-shirts and I was like, USA union made shirts, got a local printer, you know, and I was like, man, this is really cool. Like this is the way to do it. And then I like roll upon some memes where people are like, there's no ethical consumption in late capitalism. And I'm like, man, well, I kind of get what you're saying. And the kid was like, don't act like buying from mom and pop shops is morally superior. And I'm like, well, fuck, like I get the essence of what you're saying, but is that just an excuse you're making in your own mind because you're cheap and you want to justify buying shit at Walmart? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. Like the way I see it, like if you keep the money in the underground, like support underground art, like you hire an underground artist to draw your album art, and then he promotes you and people buy your album, and then you get more t-shirts. And I'm just viewing like keeping the money in art, but then at the end of the day, it's like, well, fuck money. Then we're still just playing their game. So yeah, it is kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, man, it's definitely tough to think about. You know, I don't really think there is any like, you know, cut and dry answer to that question.
Yeah.
But you know, you can make little decisions that, you know, keep yourself sane for sure.
Yeah, maybe just
You
doing
know?
what you feel is right and fuck everybody else.
Intuition is usually pretty spot on all the time, you know.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
if you just follow your gut with what feels right, you know, you're gonna be fine.
You'll be A-okay.
Yeah.
So what's up with you say you're working on a new EP?
Yeah, it's like a split we're putting out with another band.
Oh shit.
Yeah, nobody really has done a split in a while, I guess, like on the label we're on. So we're gonna do that. That'll be cool. It's like 6 songs and a cover, or 5 new songs and a cover. But it's kind of funny because it's like if you take out our last record as a full length, it's called Green Star. If you take out the 2 piano interludes that we had and the intro track, it's almost the same length.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's almost like a full release, and I think people will be stoked to buy it because it's a 12-inch split as opposed to like
cool.
a 7-inch or something. So it's like almost a full album by both bands. And that'll come out sometime in the fall. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's our favorite material so far.
Really?
I think people are going to like it.
How has it been for you, like, after the success of Go to Prison and then going out and wanting to do your new material? Has, like, Green Star people, like, what is that situation like for you?
Well, it was tough for us because we had written Green Star, like, the second year we were a band, but it didn't come out till, like, the fall, or I don't even remember when it came out, but it came out, like, 8 months later. So we had all this finished material, and we were still touring for Green Star. For Go to Prison, and we couldn't play these Green Star songs yet. So we basically played, like, the same 10 songs, like, the first 2 years over and over. And then when the Green Star material came out, we put like a couple songs into the set just because we didn't have like any time to practice because we went from one tour to the next tour to the next tour to the next tour. And the album came out when we were in Australia trying to figure all that shit out. And as soon as we got home from Australia, we had another tour like 3 days later. So we didn't have any time to practice any of the songs. So we just threw in the few that we could play without practicing. And then people would always like request, like yell out like Green Star songs when we were playing. We'd be like, sorry, we can't play that fucking song yet. We haven't practiced it.
Shit.
But slowly, sure, we definitely like more than half of our set now is Green Star songs. But it just took a while to be able to get comfortable playing them, so we weren't playing them and making them sound like shit, you know. But yeah, I can't wait to start playing these songs again, though. It's really fun to be able to, like, it, like, really puts, like, I don't know, everyone in the band is more stoked to play newer songs, you know, because they're not bored playing them yet. So I guess it's like a little, like, rejuvenation shock every time we get to.
For sure,
so
man.
I think that'll be the same with the new stuff, too.
You got to do it. And, like, right now I said I'm training these guys and playing some of the stuff for the Mad Conductor shit from, like, 05, 06, 07. Dude, it's just, like, it doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Sad to say. Like, I still love those albums, but as far as, like, performing them live, I mean, they say that you physically regenerate every cell in your body every 7 years. So, I'm not even physically the same person. You know what I mean? Plus,
yeah, I mean, I feel like it's like, I definitely sucks to like have to play a song you're not stoked to play anymore, like a hit of some type. But like, I feel like when it's put in a live setting, like you're really just trying to like connect with the audience the whole time anyway. You know, so if like it happens to be those like some of those songs that they connect with more, sometimes it's like, you know, when you're playing it, you just get more stoked in the moment more than anything, rather than like overthinking. Like man, I've played the song 8 billion times, you know.
Yeah.
But I definitely know what you mean, though. It definitely gets boring playing the same shit over and over a lot of the time.
That's a good point, though. Maybe like playing the stuff that people like and know is a way of getting them comfortable to be more receptive for new stuff that you'd like to introduce.
Definitely. I mean, it seems to be like a tried and true way about going about it, you know, that most bands do, you know, and it seems to work, you know, except for like, you know, the kind of band that like save their hit till the end, which we seem to do too. But you know, I mean, either way, people are going to want to hear what they want to hear at the end of the day. And the most important thing is that you're having fun doing it, you know. So sometimes if you got to bail on old shit too, I get that side of the coin.
Yeah.
Know?
Well, I'm talking like a complete style overhaul for myself. Like, so that was just a different time in, you know, my early 20s, my late 20s. It was just the music made sense then, but now I'm feeling, and two, when Go to Prison came out and I heard that record, I was kind of like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, and these songs that I'm writing, like this happy-go-lucky fun shit, like it's cool, but I want to start playing some more aggressive music too, you know, like, so
yeah.
that's kind of where I've been going with it. So I don't know. We'll see.
There's definitely nothing wrong too with like throwing out, like, and just start like throwing out old stuff, like thinking about playing that stuff live. Just don't even do it. Just like only play new stuff that you want to play too. That's always cool to see.
Yeah.
You know, I like seeing bands and then like a few years later seeing them and it's completely different.
Yeah.
That's always really exciting, you know.
I do
too. Like, but
man.
I'm also like a really picky music fan these days too. I really don't want to see the same thing over and over, you know, especially like multiple years apart, you know.
Yeah.
Then I won't go to see a band a third time if I think it's going to be the same thing again, you know.
I think that most people probably aren't that way though, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that's probably true.
This is just like the nostalgia era. Like it's amazing
I know.
To even come out with an original band and new music and have people respond to it is incredible. It's like they just want reunions of bands that broke up 20 years ago. They
my God.
They want bands that are
still
active to go out and play their, like, pretty much like a band that's been around for 10, 15 years. They got to do these tours where they advertise that they're playing their classic debut album or whatever.
I know, dude. That's what happened when we did that tour with Strung Out. Like the ticket sales weren't doing so hot for a minute, and then as soon as they're like, all right, let's change the plan, and for the rest of the shows, we'll just do full album shows. And then they did that, and like all the shows sold out immediately.
It's kind of sad.
It was crazy.
Weird.
Yeah, it is really sad, you know, but I feel like as long as bands are doing that and bringing out new bands with them, it kind of gives them a pass in my book, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're like delivering something fresh and new, and then the shit you wanted to hear also.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
So like,
that's good enough for me.
The
that's
show
the best they
overall.
can do, you know?
Yeah. Plus for
the
you,
show overall is what really matters.
And you want the ticket sales to be good, so it's like I don't really care what songs y'all play as long as you bring more people out for us to play too.
Yeah, exactly. We just want people to hear our fucking band.
Yeah.
You know, they want to hear your old shit, and we want them to hear anything by us.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like you get into a weird like zone as a musician where are you doing this because you love it, or are you doing it because it's what's gonna like keep, you know, letting you pay your rent or whatever? Like,
yeah, man, I feel like as soon as it turns into like a thing to pay the bills, that's when the downhill starts. You know, it's like when it like, you know, we always said we would do this until we hated doing it. You know, and we definitely don't love touring all the time. You know, but every single night when we get on stage, it's like the most fun we could possibly have if we got to pick between anything in the world. You know,
no doubt.
So as long as that's the case, I think bands always usually come off pretty like genuine and sick, you know.
Yeah,
I feel like that's half the appeal for people, anyways.
But like doing a set where it's just your debut album that came out 20 years ago or whatever, like, is that an artistic choice or a business move? You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of the time I feel like it's a business move these days.
I don't think people give a fuck. It's weird. It's like nobody really.
No, they don't.
Nobody analyzes the deeper meaning of things that happen. People just love that things happen. They don't necessarily even love the thing that's happening. Like, I bet you if I made a post that was like, No Cash is going to do a new song, that post would get like 500 likes. But then if I posted, here's the song on Bandcamp, that post would get like 23 likes. You know what I mean?
Dude, I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's so crazy how that kind of shit works all the time. I mean, that's like pretty spot on. I think with the social media stuff. It's tough though, you know. You like, especially stuff with like a link in it these days. You have to like pay money to get anybody to see that kind of shit.
Yeah,
You know?
I've been fucking struggling with that too, and I'm like, the embarrassing thing is then when people see that you paid, then it says sponsored on it.
You look like a big poser. But I mean, I don't know. It's also just part of playing the game too, though. It's just another part of it. You know, Facebook is fucked. Like, they're literally not there for you to have fun. They're there to make money. You know, and they're gonna make the money any way they can. And I mean, shit was way easier even a few years ago with stuff like that. You know, before like the sponsored posts were a thing.
Yeah.
You know, you could like post one thing and every single follower you had would see it.
Yeah.
But now, like, I mean, it's gotten so bad. Like, it's like the amount of money you pay, like, has incrementally decreased over the last few years of how many people it will show it to.
Oh,
so, like,
yeah.
Like I remember when we did our first sponsored post was for our first music video for that song Forever Sad, and I paid $20 for it, and it showed it to 1 million people, which is pretty good, you know.
Yeah, million's
but
good.
then now, if when I paid for like the Green Star video, we spent $80, and it only showed it to like 13,000 people. It's like, what? That's
and you guys have almost 20,000 followers, so it's so stupid.
Yeah, and like, it costs like at least $100 to get it to show anything to all 20,000 of those people.
And bro, your shit doesn't show up in my feed. I like you guys on Facebook, but I don't ever see posts from you. Like maybe a picture every once in a while might come up, but
nothing important, I'm sure.
And those are the big ones, like Bandcamp links, SoundCloud links, YouTube links.
Yeah.
That's the shit that just people... You know what's the craziest thing, though? When I post a stupid henchman song on my personal page, dude, people fucking eat this shit up like crack cocaine, man. I get like 200 likes on a stupid henchman song. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I want to post a Mad Conductor song and get that many likes.
Yeah, I think it's because like it's like a personal page and not like an actual like music page, you know?
Yeah.
Because like for personal pages, you don't really like, they don't try to push like advertising like at all, even though you can if you want it, you know. But for the pages is where they know they'll make the most money, you know. So.
And then do you think
that really fuck you?
Do you think you look like, I don't know, do people frown upon someone sharing their own links to their music on their own personal?
Nah, man, I do it every single time. Like, like whenever we post something from the band page that's important, like the first thing we do is post it from the page and then all share it from our own personal pages, because the more shares you get, the farther it'll reach organically, they say.
Yeah.
But just by sheer number of shares, you know, it goes up. Like, it'll show it to more people's friends and stuff like that. It's just, you know, a little, like, it's like a simple strategy, I guess, to like, just to give everything a little bit of a boost, you know?
Yeah. You gotta be on all the platforms, Instagram.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't run our Twitter. Because, like, if I had to answer people on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, I would just kill myself, you know? I would just rather kill myself than do that.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that just nobody responds to us on Twitter, so
would you
I
really
don't have to worry about it.
Would you really, though, if your bass player was like, yo, Brian, I don't want to do Twitter anymore, would you just, like, fucking end it right there?
All right, man, it's fucking over, dude. I don't even care anymore.
It's been a good run, man.
Yeah,
dude. If you ever have an issue like that, like where one of your guys drops off a tour last minute, holler at your dog, man. Right here.
All right, I will,
dude. I'll fucking go to Japan with you, dudes, man. That'd be sick.
Hell yeah, man. That would be awesome.
And I know that, like, when you said the guy was trying to learn the stuff like overnight. You guys don't write that kind of music. Like, your shit is more complex. It's not like the Ramones bass player left and they had to teach the set to somebody 45 minutes before they played. Like,
yeah, somebody can handle that. I don't know. Our songs are a lot of parts and then another part and then another part.
A lot of stops and changes.
Yeah, all the stops and changes confuse the fuck out of people. It's really, in the end, it's like, it's all power chords, but it's like huge runs of power chords. Like the song specifically Sycophant on Go to Prison is like definitely one of the hardest songs I've ever had to teach anybody in my whole life.
That's
it's
a
so
sick song.
Aggravating.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, that's like probably still my favorite riff.
Yeah. It is really choppy all over the place.
Yeah, Zach wrote that one too. That wasn't even me.
Oh,
That's
cool.
a Zach Quinn original.
Man, it
Well,
reminds me
that riff at least.
when we toured in the UK, it was like this kid put the idea into my head over MySpace. He's like, "Why don't you guys come tour the UK?" He's like, "You can play with my band. If you book the shows, we'll provide the van and the gear." And I was like, because I had a bigger name than they did. They were like unknown. So I was like, yeah, tight, man. Cool. So we went over, and after the first show, we stayed at this like quaint little bed and breakfast, like you'd imagine us being in some little town outside of Manchester. And the band was called 500 to a Cage, and the bass player and drummer, the kid who put the idea for the tour into my head in the first place, absconded in the night. They were just so stressed from being on tour after not even 24 hours. They left, they fled. And
whoa.
yeah, and my and my bass player and my drummer ended up learning 500 to a Cage's songs and filling in for them for the rest of the tour.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
But it was like, I don't know, I feel like maybe by having a smaller group and just being with our two guides from England and then the five of us, dude, we became like fucking blood brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude,
like,
that definitely happens. That's what happened with us and Strung Out too. You know, because their bass player was playing half of our set too, and Chris Aiken, or that dude is like a machine at learning songs too. I didn't realize he's the best guitar player in their whole band. He's the bass player, but we would teach him 2 songs every single day for like 6 days, and by the end of those 6 days, he would play the whole show with us, which was fucking crazy. And then after that, he just stopped, and we just had Pat, and he would just only play whatever song he wanted, you know, every night, which was still cool because we got to bring him on stage and shit, and everyone would go nuts for him and stuff, and it would get the crowd extra stoked just to have that dude like being like a guest appearance, I guess, you know.
Yeah,
and he was like killer. He learned all the songs in like a couple minutes. It was impressive.
Yeah,
but he's like an anomaly. You know, I don't know how he does that.
Well, he's a pro, and it's kind of like, I mean, teaching people kung fu forms, like maybe a white belt or a yellow belt. You try to teach them a kung fu form that has maybe like 6 or 7 moves, maybe 10 moves, and it's very difficult for them because they've never learned forms before. But say I'm a 3rd degree black belt. When I go to learn a form, I kind of get what I'm supposed to be doing. So learning a form that has like 64 moves is easier for me than somebody who's a yellow belt learning a 5-form move. So it's the same thing. Like if you've been playing songs your whole life and you've got 100 songs in your brain, I think it's going to be easier for you to learn more songs.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good explanation for that. I never really thought about it that way, but that dude's been playing it professionally in a punk band for so long that he definitely knows how to pick up a punk song.
You stretch that muscle and strengthen that muscle for sure. Like with me and raps, dude, like I probably had, I don't know, 50,000 rap lines memorized before.
Yeah, man, I don't know how you remember it.
Before I even started writing raps. Like, I mean, I knew every Wu-Tang album. I knew every Eminem album. I knew all the Beastie Boys albums. Like, I can rap along, and somewhere in my brain, I can't fucking remember to show up to a meeting with the IRS. You know what I mean? That fucking shit is just gone out of the ear as soon as somebody tells me, okay, 2:00, yeah. But
yeah, okay, I'll never think about that again.
But yeah, but songs from 1986, yo, I'm your man for that shit.
That's crazy.
You build the muscle. And the thing about playing and singing at the same time, it's weird. Like you would think that playing bass and singing at the same time would be easier than guitar, but I beg to differ, man. I think guitar has like a more of a strum that just lets you, it's almost like tapping your foot, but bass to really lock it down and sing, it's a whole other level, man, because you gotta you're the foundation, and then it's like you're trying to be the foundation and the fucking ornament on top of the tree at the same time.
Yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough. Especially, you're right, playing bass, man, you gotta like definitely be like concentrated on the kick drum and snare drum the whole time, you know, not like trying to think about how to sing the notes right, you know. That's
Dude.
definitely a lot harder. I've done both, and I can tell you you're right about that.
And I had another bass player who absconded in the night from me, man, and I was just I like
Man.
I'm like, dude, can you please come do the show? And he's like, no. And I'm like, dude, how could you leave me high and dry like this? And it was like a benefit too for like suicide awareness or some shit like that. So I was like, dude, I'm not canceling this. And we show up to the show, and it's like an outdoor thing at this college campus, and I have to play bass, and it's just like,
yeah,
I'm just up there making a fool of myself, just like, dude, we would have kicked so much ass as the full band, and I'm trying to like, I wrote all these bass lines, but now I'm trying to rap and play like a complex ska bass line.
Dude, dude, that's got to be really hard.
That was a nightmare experience, man. So like, I don't know. It's good to have those bench players that you can call on in those situations. Like, shit, this dude fucking blew his brains out overnight for some reason. Like, we need a bass player.
Yeah, man. It's definitely good to have those kind of people. Now, I assume that you probably do at this point, huh?
No. If I did, I'd still be on the road.
You already tried everybody?
Well, I don't know. It's weird, man. It's like, get this situation though, dude. My bass player, he's actually a big PEARS fan too, by the way. He'll be stoked to hear this podcast. He's huge fan of punk rock, man. He's a record collector. He's got like thousands of records, you know what I mean? Right. And he's a big fan. He was a big fan of No Cash, but he had never heard of Mad Conductor. And he's from the Lehigh Valley where I'm from in Pennsylvania, and he listened to my podcast with Squirt, the drummer from Choking Victim, and then heard from my podcast that Mad Conductor was a thing. And then he contacted me. He's like, yo, I live in Nazareth now. I'd like to meet up if you can and buy a record. And then we met up, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're that dude who lives up the street from me. I see you walking all the time with your big-ass pit bull, and you guys got punk shirts and tattoos and shit. And I was always like, y'all could be my friends. And then I'm like, dude, it was just such a small world. And then he's like, yeah, I play bass and trumpet too. And I'm like, okay, well, do you want to be in my band? So we're
like
jamming.
Some little kid shit or something.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we're jamming now, and I have my original piano player from the first Mad.
Nice.
Yeah, Mad
I remember.
Band.
What's his name?
Dylan.
That's right. Yeah. I remember y'all played at the High Ground and he was playing with you.
Yeah.
Like way back in the day.
For sure. So he's with us, and then my buddy Tony from Sunny on the Causeway. I don't know if you heard them yet, but he put out a record. They streamed it on Punk News one day, and he got a little bit of recognition for that, which was pretty cool. But I thought it was a great record. It's called Graffiti. I'll send you the link for it. I think you'd really like it.
Yeah.
So he's playing drums. So yeah, I guess those are my bench players, but it took a while to put it back together. And you know how it is, man. When you start from scratch and now you've got to learn songs with people, and it's just like,
yeah, you got to learn how to be a whole band again, man. That's tough.
It's like, is this even fun? I can't even tell, you know?
Yeah, I think once you get to the work phase of it, it'll be fun.
Yeah, you know? No doubt. It's
definitely teaching people music sucks. I fucking hate it. I hope I never have to teach anybody else ever again in my life another PEARS song.
I'm pretty blunt about it. I'm always like, you got to show up knowing what to play. I'm not going to sit there and teach you. Dude, in my last time, I tried to put a band together, and it kind of worked. Actually, Cameron was playing with us, but...
Cameron from New Orleans?
Yeah. He moved up to PA.
From Bougie and High Rise? That dude's an awesome guitar player.
Yeah, he is. And unfortunately, the band kind of crumbled due to some like bullshit. But, you know, we had a piano player who was strung out on dope, and like, dude, brutal. She would show up to the practices just not knowing shit. And I'm like sitting there trying to show her a 3-note part, and everybody's fucking staring at me like, what's going on, dude? And so I made a choice to myself, like, dude, if you want to play in this band, I appreciate the fuck out of that, but you got to show up knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
there's people that can do it though, for sure. You know, just nobody's got time for someone showing up strung out and stuff like that, you know?
Man, I would be ecstatic if y'all were like, yo, we need a bass player. I would love to just prove it to myself and to everybody. Like, I'd make a YouTube video of it. I'd be like, yo, this band... Here's how it's done. This band asked me to play. I'm gonna listen to their album. I'm gonna figure every song out. I'm gonna make notes. Then I'm gonna show up to the practice and be like, all right, guys, let's run through the songs. You know what I mean?
We could make it a YouTube tutorial of how to be in a band.
Yeah. Damn. Have you heard Dustin's new band, Diplocrats?
I've heard. I've definitely meant to go see them a couple times, but I haven't actually listened to them. Oh no, I heard one of their songs. The dude that records us recorded their record too, I heard one of the songs without vocals, so I didn't really know how it sounded.
Yeah, I really like their shit, man. It's cool.
I remember it reminded me of like Samurai Deli and stuff, his old band.
It's more aggressive for sure, but it definitely almost has like kind of a swung rock and roll feel to it. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, but
that dude Seth is playing in that band too, huh? Right?
Yeah, Seth Matei is playing guitar or bass. Is he playing bass? And Paul Bacharach plays guitar, and then Cash, my old bass player, is playing drums.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
But
small world. Yeah, like one of the first times I saw PEARS was when you were playing with Dustin's first band, Big Fat and Delicious, at Bank Street Bar.
Yeah.
You remember that show?
Yeah.
That was cool.
We filmed a music video for the song Framework at that show.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, that's such a picturesque place, the Bank Street Bar.
I know. It's totally different now, too. They, like, redid the whole stage.
It's nice as hell.
There was that, like, ceiling?
Yeah.
There was that ceiling above the stage. Now it's gone. It's just like a 12-foot high ceiling now. It's pretty sweet. And they, like, redid the floor with, like, some nice hardwood and stuff, like just the stage floor and stuff. And they got a drum riser now and shit. The stage is, like, way bigger, too. And they got, like, a new PA. It's pretty nice.
And they don't allow smoking in there anymore, which is huge for me, because that was one.
Yeah, huge for you, not huge for me. I'm a smoker, but
dude, that was, even if you are a smoker, man, people have said to me being in that place was just gross.
Yeah, it really is. And not to mention, there's a restaurant like right next door with the window open into the bar, so like all that restaurant's food is like smells like cigarettes.
Man, I'm feeling so nostalgic right now, though. I really, those were some of the best days of my life, man. Going to shows at Bank Street, hop over to the pizza spot, get a slice, say what's up to my boys over there.
The pizza spot moved up in the world. They moved across the street on the corner into that big restaurant. And now they're like killing it. They got a restaurant. They got that restaurant. They got another one uptown too. And now in the old pizza spot, there's like the best crawfish joint in town too.
Really?
It's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. You just order crawfish like by the pound and corn and potatoes and shit and all kinds of stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, shout out
Bank Street is moving up in the world.
Shout out to Mid City Pizza.
Yeah, man, they're killing it. My wife works there now, and she makes like way more money than I ever made working there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you worked there for a minute too, didn't you?
Yeah, I worked there for a while. I worked there when it used to be called Lazzaro's.
Oh yeah, Lazzaro's. That's why I didn't say the name.
I
couldn't remember, but it was still like Barros, my old guitar player, was still hitting it up.
Works there.
Yeah, man, he's killing it.
He's back in the day though, it was kind of like a drug front, so like we really didn't make that much pizza. You know, but now that it's Mid City Pizza, they make a lot of pizza. You know?
Yeah, I'll have a pizza with extra powdered sugar, please.
Yeah.
Pizza with mushrooms. If somebody calls up and they're like, "Yo, can I get a pizza with extra mushrooms?" and they're like, the guy asked. Then you fucking
People would call and try to buy weed all the time, dude. All the time. And then when I would deliver the pizza, they'd be like, you don't have like any weed for sale, huh? I was like, what do you think this is? You're crazy. I mean, sure, I'll give you some weed, but like, that's not the business.
Man, we rocked together at Bank Street Bar at that Halloween.
Right,
that Halloween Batman show, and you were dressed up like the Penguin, and we put that prosthetic nose on you and shit.
That was awesome, dude. That was the coolest. I remember that. That was super fun.
You had the fucking.
That was like one of the longest sets I've ever seen a band do at Bank Street Park too. Not in a bad way, just like I think y'all played for like an hour and a half or something that night. I was like, fuck, man, they're killing it.
That show, man, was a mess. It was too grand. I had too big of a vision in my mind, and then like I put the whole thing together to impress my girlfriend, and she was flying in to see me, and she was late, like her flight was delayed. So I kept like pushing it back and delaying it and delaying it. Dude, I don't even think we went on that night until like 2:00 in the morning, and like
Holy shit.
everybody left. Like I remember that hip hop group, Slangston Hughes' group, Tiger Woods, opened up and they played to like a packed house, man, and the place was going nuts. By the time we went on, there's like, I don't know, maybe 10 people left, and it was yeah, it was just trying to, I wanted it to be like a big theatrical play, and it was just not the right, you know.
Yeah. But it was still fun. I remember
it was
being
fun, for sure.
I think there was probably more than 10 people too. That was a handful for sure.
No doubt. Thank you, man. And either way, it was like, yeah, like when you look back on things, it's like it happened how it happened, and it was fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even when it doesn't go the way you planned it, you know, it's still a fun time. You know, a fun thing that happened.
And Bank Street, man, like, dude. Ah, man, New Orleans, man. It's just like, that was my fucking city, man. Like when we started touring, all the places I went to, as soon as I set foot in New Orleans, man, I knew it was a place I had to fucking be. And the first time I was there, No Cash played a show on Christmas Eve at Bank Street Bar in a fucking warehouse, like down at the end.
No, I think that show was at Bank Street Warehouse, right?
I think that was it. Were you at that show?
No, all my friends were though, not me.
And then years later, then the next year we went back in the summer and we played at
Dixie Tavern, I think.
Yeah, it was at a fire hall or at some other little venue, but it got the fire marshal came and shut it down because it was so packed. And then we had like a whole caravan of people follow us to Dixie Tavern and like begged the manager to let us jump on the show. Actually, this whole story is detailed in the Mad Conductor song Legendary Jams, if anybody wants to hear more about what happened or hear a funny take on that story. Were you at that one or no?
No, all my friends were though.
Yeah.
Those shows are like legendary and like old tales and stuff, but I wasn't there. I was like a year or so too young for my parents to let me go to like places like Dixie Tavern and shit, which is a bar.
Yeah, you had to have been pretty young because I was fucking young. Like I don't think
I guess I must have been like 13 or something or 12 maybe.
Yeah, because I was like 17 and 18 maybe when we came through. But that was, I mean, yeah, like that was enough. And then when Mad Conductor came back, dude, it was like on a hard tour. Shit wasn't going right. And we got to New Orleans and it was only a year or two after Katrina and it was just fucking pouring and I was depressed and I didn't think anybody was going to come and we're like sound checking and so I'm like, okay, there's a person. And before I know it, man, the fucking high ground was like packed and we had an awesome show and I was just like, thank you, New Orleans,
I was definitely at all those shows. Y'all had like an awesome following here.
Dude, that first show we did there with Samurai Deli was insane.
Yeah, I was at that one. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was good times, man. And then
those was definitely some of the coolest shows that happened back then too.
Yeah,
but people were always like super stoked when you guys were coming to town and talk about it for weeks and shit, and their shows would go off. That was awesome.
And then
y'all definitely hit New Orleans at the right time too.
Yeah.
Like y'all's style and shit, like that kind of thing was like huge here at that point, you know. Like right after the storm and shit.
Yeah, man.
But and like for like the following 6 years, I guess, or so. But like now, it was just crazy now because New Orleans is like flipped upside down from those times. You know, 'cause it used to be like this huge ska and punk thing, and now it's like all indie bands.
Oh yeah, Community Records kind of facilitated that too when they kind of shifted gears, you know?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, you know? It's like it's not good for ska and punk fans necessarily, but, you know, there's still like equally good bands just of a different realm, you know?
Yeah. But the Block Party kind of shifted gears that same way. Like it was all ska punk and then I think now it's mostly indie bands and stuff.
Yeah, they don't do it at the Big Top no more either. Yeah. Somebody bought that place and now it sucks and nobody goes there. And I think they tried to make it a venue for like a few months and it just like crumbled hard.
Bro, that was fucking epic, man. I think it was the last Block Party I was at. I only attended. I wasn't playing that year. And I went, my aunts and uncles were in town that day and they took me out and I had to like run to meet them from Kung Fu class. Right. And, cause they wanted to get lunch and I was like, okay, how about 3? They're like 3, that's kind of late for lunch. And I'm like, all right, well, we'll just meet up and have a couple drinks, but I didn't have anything to eat. I just met up with them and had 2 or 3 beers. And then I went straight to the block party and, so I don't know if it might have been you or Zach or somebody gave me a wristband to get back to where like the free keg was for the bands.
Yeah, when Abita sponsored it, that was awesome.
Dude, and I got a good buzz on that day, man. And I have...
the hot sun definitely adds to it, too.
I was wasted that night, man. I had pictures...
Yeah, I took acid that year, too. That was brutal.
Dude, the Lollies played. I have pictures and video footage from inside your mosh pit for the Lollies set. That was just insane, dude.
That's awesome. Those are some of the craziest shows the Lollies played, for sure. All the block party sets were like epic as fuck.
Oh, man. And I was actually supposed to pick up my girlfriend from the airport that night too, but I was so fucked up.
God.
And Dustin gave me a ride home and I remember him dropping me off and me like hugging him. I was like, I love you, man. And
that's awesome.
My girlfriend had to get a cab from the airport and then I was like, we gotta go get pizza. Dude, she didn't have a driver's license at the time, but I let her drive my car up to Bank Street Bar.
Oh my God.
Dude, yeah, up to Lazzaro's, I think, or it might have been Mid-City Pizza by then to get pizza. And dude, I couldn't walk in a straight line, but I remember
oh my God.
Zach was really buzzed that year too, man. And I don't know if he's like stopped drinking or I don't want to like put him on blast, but I remember I always tell everybody, I'm like, me and Zach that year, man, we were the drunkest people there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all probably were. Zach was a drunk guy back then for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the good old days.
The good old days for sure, man. Well, it's still the good old days, man. Fuck that.
Absolutely. You got to make new good old days.
I can't wait to fucking see y'all again and reconnect. Do you do a lot of local shows still?
Not really, man. Like we try to spread them out because like we're like for the first little bit of the band, we played like every other weekend for like 2 months, I guess. And pretty much like everybody had seen it. So they knew who we were. They knew we were pretty good, you know. And then once we would only do shows like in New Orleans, like as like a tour kickoff or like when we get home from a tour. And even recently we stopped doing that so much. Like we played one show in New Orleans so far this year with that band Val, and we did it at that coffee shop, the Neutral Ground, that tiny coffee shop. And that was dumb as fuck. It was just it was so small, and it was like 300 people there. It's like nobody could fit in the store. It was so fucked up. So we did that, and I guess that's hoping that'll hold people over until we do another show here in the fall, I guess.
It's going to be in the fall?
But yeah, probably. We've done it. Like, now that our drummer moved back to Philly, we can't like really do anything unless he's like here for something. Yeah. But we'll do something more eventually, I guess.
Do you do Voodoo Fest?
Nah. We like for the past 2 years we've been playing that thing, the Fest in Gainesville.
Yeah.
And it's like the same weekend, but we did like get asked to do Voodoo Fest this year, which was nice because at least they asked us, you know, for once.
Yeah, they better.
But we were like, no, we can't do the Fest, or we can't because we're doing the Fest already. But now we got to cancel the Fest because we got a Rise Against tour we're doing in Europe instead.
I mean, honestly,
that'll be strange.
Like, what fucking band from New Orleans is killing it as hard as you guys right now and representing all over the world?
I don't think anybody really.
Straight up.
I mean, there's like not many for sure. I mean, maybe like I Hate God or something, but they're like a metal band, you know.
Right. Yeah.
We're trying to be the punk ambassadors for New Orleans, I guess.
I don't think any genre. I don't think anybody's as touring as hard as y'all and like putting out material as consistently. Like for Voodoo Fest to set up shop in your city and not come to you first. Yo, we got problems.
Totally.
For real.
Yeah,
though,
I mean,
man.
I feel the same way. They just don't seem to be that interested in the punk rock thing anymore. It's definitely turned into like a fucking EDM fest.
EDM,
for sure.
yeah.
I mean,
I almost called it DXM, but same fucking thing. Right?
yeah, something like that.
Oh man,
But
I had a
yeah.
good time at Voodoo Fest. I went and sold merch for Fatter Than Albert and introduced them
Oh
on
man, that year
stage
was
and shit.
awesome. I was at that show.
You were
That was
there?
awesome. They had Andy Tabar singing for him
Yeah.
from Flameless Tsunamis. That was their best lineup, I think. Was when
Dude.
he was singing for him. That shit was brutal.
Yeah, I remember John Bourgeois did a backflip before they went on stage, and I was like, holy shit, dude, you
Yeah,
can do
he can
fucking
just do that.
backflips?
Yeah, it's crazy. That guy is super athletic somehow.
Dude.
I don't know. He would always like run up walls and do backflips and shit. We're just like, what?
That's sick.
Just
Well,
like when we were just hanging out.
he was an inline skater, right?
Yeah, dude. He had like a crazy like wreck he got into doing that shit. He like broke his skull.
Whoa.
Yeah, when he was skating, and he had to get like head surgery, and like they had to like put his head back together, and he couldn't smell for a long time. And like
What?
he would get all pissed off and stuff, and it was really fucked up. We thought he was gonna die.
Damn.
That was really scary.
What, he was doing a big jump or?
Yeah, he was just doing some skate trick and just busted his head open like hard and like went into a coma and shit.
Fuck, man. No helmet?
He's good now though, but I guess that's why I tell you to wear a helmet. You know,
Oh, yeah. Damn.
definitely hurt yourself.
Yeah, I had one close call. I was skating this bowl, and I was like skating around the top of the bowl, like making these circles, and then all these like little kids at the skate park started following me, and we were all like making circles around the bowl, and it was kind of fun. We were like doing a follow the leader thing, and I was like, all right, now I'm gonna drop in, and I had a lot of speed. I dropped in. And as soon as I got to the bottom, like my board just shot out from under me, and I flew back and smashed the back of my head so hard right into the ramp. And luckily, this place had a helmet policy. Otherwise, I would not have had one on, man. And I was fine, but it was because of the helmet, dude. If I hadn't had a helmet, man, I don't know what it could have killed me right in the back of the head, bro.
Definitely, dude. Definitely. I definitely know what it's like to have like head trauma and shit. One time at a show, I was at this dwarves show in New Orleans and at Siberia, and this dude like thought that I was like standing on like the outer edge of the pit type area at the show, and some guy thought that I was a guy that punched his girlfriend in the face, but it was somebody completely different. But he just took a bottle and came from behind me and just smashed it over the back of my head. And I was tripping on mushrooms at the same time too.
Oh my god!
And it just literally just knocked me unconscious. And then I woke up a few seconds later just bleeding, and the whole world was just spinning in circles. And I was just like, what in the fuck? And I was laying on the ground. And then the dude comes and had wrapped his studded belt around his fist and was trying to punch me in the face while I was trying to like get up at even a little bit. And like before he could hit me or whatever, a bunch of people like carried me by my limbs out of the place, you know. But it was fucked up, man. Head trauma is not fun.
Dude, what's it like to be...
I had to go to the hospital and shit and get stitches and stuff. My mom came. It was crazy.
What's it like to be unconscious while you're tripping?
Man, I barely remember it, honestly. I remember waking up, and it was like I remember waking up, and I didn't feel anything, but everything was spinning. So it was like the whole world was like... It was like I could see the floor behind, like underneath my head. You know, but I was looking up. It was crazy. Like the whole world was just spinning in a circle so fast. I mean, it was pretty brutal. Like the tripping part of it, at least. But I think like tripping while that was happening probably was a good thing because I could barely feel it. You know, and while we were in the car on the way to the hospital, my wife was rushing me to the hospital or whatever in the car. I just freaking the fuck out because I was like bleeding profusely, and I was like making jokes and shit, and like I was just be like, Devlin, I think I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
But it really was. It made the whole experience a lot better, I think.
A lot better.
Yeah, it was definitely. And then whenever they gave me the pain medication at the hospital, dude, that made everything super crazy until I just passed out.
Oh damn!
They gave me like Dilaudid or something, and that just made everything crazy.
That's a nice
I was talking
combo.
to my mom, just like saying nonsense and stuff, and it was really weird.
You might feel like guilty about taking dope pills while you're tripping, but you're like, fucking doctor gave it to me. I have to take this to get better.
Exactly.
Kind of take some of the edge off of like a real bizarre trip.
Totally.
But like, maybe it's possible you just took so much shrooms you imagined the whole thing happening.
I don't know. I mean, I had to lay in my bed for like the next 6 days. So at a certain point, I was like, maybe I'm not tripping and imagining all this.
Oh shit! Yeah, for sure. Damn.
Yeah. But word.
Oh man, it's been great to catch up with you, man. I fucking
dude.
One of my favorite parts of doing the podcast is just like having an excuse to shoot the shit with somebody I haven't, rap with in a minute.
Yeah, man, this is the second podcast I've done like this with a friend already, and it's been pretty cool, man. It's good to talk to you.
Awesome, yeah, and it was a great interview, man. I was, definitely real curious about like your whole beginnings and how y'all fucking, made it work. And
yeah, man, just persistent work, committing yourself 100%. I think is the answer to that question.
Hell yeah, man, and keep up the good work, man. And next time y'all are fucking up here, I'll come check y'all out again, and hopefully I'll be back.
Yeah, man, we're playing the Knitting Factory sometime in October, I think. Where are you living at though?
I'm in PA, but it's only like an hour drive into Manhattan, so I could come.
How far are you from Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh's further. That's like on the west side of the state, so that's like a good 5-hour drive for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's much easier to dip into New York or Philly.
Yeah, we're playing Philly too. We just haven't announced that show yet, but it's like the support bands that are on that tour with us aren't playing that show, so we didn't announce it yet.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, we'll be around. We'll be around. I'll shoot you some dates when we're close or something. Put you on the guest list.
Hell yeah, man! And I should be back down in New Orleans too, so maybe I'll run into you down there if you're around.
Yeah, man, hit me up. Most definitely.
Cool, man. Well, if I don't talk to you before you hit the road again, good luck out there and fucking keep killing it, man.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it a bunch.
Yeah, man. Thanks for talking with me.
No problem, dude. Appreciate it. Talk to you later.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Peace.
Peace.